CPA Enoch Monari joins me, and of course he's going to help me just crack down on some of these stories, because most of them are actually in connection to matters economy. As we proceed to the discussion of the day, like I said earlier on, we'll be taking a look at the bankers, of course, a take on the rate cap, or maybe request on the rate cap, and equally Treasury on domestic debt, and how much the government has said that they're out here to, of course, incur more debts locally. We don't know what this would mean then for the growth of the economy, but of course we'll be getting these great sentiments from Enoch Monari. That aside, let's first of all take a look at this. We have the Standard newspaper, sir, Daily Nation, the Business Daily, and the Star newspaper. Of course, the biggest stories on KRA. I think you must have seen that. And KRA boss in trouble over the tax claim. We have gone through that story, and the DPP says that they are ready and they have enough evidence to sort of proceed and probably prosecute them. The Director of Public Prosecutions, Nordin Haji, wants the Brewer's Chief Executive Officer, Mrs. Tabitha Karanja, and her husband, Mr. Joseph Karanja, charged with failing to pay taxes amounting to 14 billion. And here we are on the question of taxes again. And when you see these big wigs being shaken, then of course the common mwananchi who's probably not filed their taxes or something of the sort is even more worried.
Yeah, of course it worries you when you look at the figures that are being thrown around. But again, of course, it raises more questions. And these questions, especially for the brewing industry, that's the beer industry, Keroche, EABL, and African Spirits, KRA has implemented very strict systems on how they manage excise duty and the rest. So for the tax man to come 3-4 years later or 5 years later and say, look, you actually evaded tax, sometimes it's completely illogical. And I would have wanted to see, as the directors of Keroche Brewers are being taken to court, they be accompanied by the people who actually helped them evade the tax. Because it takes two to tango. It cannot just be one person. There must have been KRA officials or officials from the port who actually help these companies evade the tax. Without that, it sometimes looks like witch hunt. And another thing that we have to realize is that these are local industries that people have worked so hard to develop to the level they are. I mean, Tabitha is one of the most established entrepreneurs we have in the country.
Right.
She started from scratch and look where she is. So for us, we just have to wait for the court process. But we hope that there's no politics in it, and it's a genuine case of tax evasion. And we want to ensure that every single person pays their taxes, because the government needs the money. So if indeed they're evading the taxes, then of course it's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
All right, where does it place? I think we talked about this sometimes last week, but then again, the kawaida people who probably have not been able to file their tax. And it's always a hassle, by the way, I'll tell you this. Not most of the Kenyans are able to file their taxes because they really do not have proper knowledge of this. It's a hassle. The timeline that is normally given is probably big enough, but not always good enough for these Kenyans to be able to file.
No, it's ignorance on our part, because KRA does a lot of publicity when it comes to issues filing of taxes.
Right.
But then again, we are disenfranchised as Kenyans, because you wonder, why should I file my returns?
Yet I've already paid.
And I used a bad road this morning.
Okay. Oh,
so you cannot really tell me that you want me to be accountable in terms of tax payment and filing of returns, and I'm not seeing the benefits in the returns. So that is the worry. Because right now, and this is what we interact with every day, people are receiving phone calls from KRA to pay 100 shillings, 150 shillings, 2,000 shillings, and people are wondering, is the government broke? Why is there this push for people to pay the taxes? But it's a good thing. We just have to learn from ourselves that we have to pay taxes so that we can be able to develop the country. But we also have to push for accountability on the part of those who handle this money that we are paying to ensure that the money is used prudently.